shocking new revelations about sensitive U.S. intelligence. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, reporting he accidentally received top-secret war plans from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth after he was included in a group chat on the encrypted messaging platform Signal.
This just in, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, says he was accidentally texted war plans.
Goldberg was added to a Signal chat with some of the most senior national security members of the Trump administration.
The vice president, the CIA director, the director of national intelligence, the secretary of state, the White House chief of staff, and more, discussing what we can only assume to be top secret plans.
About the planning for the recent bombing of the Houthis that started on March 15th.
He was convinced it wasn't real, that maybe this was an AI prank until the bombs actually started falling.
Goldberg says he didn't think the chat was real until the planned attack actually took place. Goldberg then exited the chain. A National Security Council spokesman confirmed that the thread was authentic and they're investigating. Folks, apps like Signal are not government-approved platforms to transmit classified information. You would think folks would know that. And the fact that defense officials are conducting an intelligence operation on an app is dangerous. Meanwhile, Donald Trump claims he had no knowledge of these events.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic.
That was his takeaway. Joining me now is Larry Pfeiffer, former senior director of the White House Situation Room under President Obama. Larry, it's a real pleasure to welcome you here. I want to throw up for you as sort of a how should we call it, a baseball card, if you will, of the Trump officials included in this Signal group chat. You've got J.D. Vance, Vice President, Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor, Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, Tulsi Gabbard, DNI, John Ratcliffe, CIA, Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff, Steve Witkoff, Special Envoy to the Middle East, Stephen Miller, Senior White House Advisor, and Jeffrey Goldberg, Editor-in-Chief of The Atlantic. So one of these things is not like the others. Could you share with us why this is a problem? Because I think some people are saying, well, I don't understand what the big deal is. It's a big deal.
Yes, it's inexcusable, actually. In my job as the White House Situation Room Senior Director, I was responsible for managing those conference rooms that are famous from photographs of national security meetings. But a more important job that I had was leading a team of individuals who made sure that there was secure government communication equipment, devices, platforms available for use by anybody who would attend these interagency National Security Council meetings at the principals and deputies level. And by available, I mean 24/7 at the home, at the office, in a car, on a plane. So the equipment was available to them within steps of anywhere they were. For them to be using ostensibly encrypted platform on non-secure phones is really unconscionable.
You know, so let's put up for folks the Atlantic screenshot of the group chat text. And so what some of this was being conveyed here, celebrating the strike itself. You've got J.D. Vance, excellent. John Ratcliffe, a good start. Mike Waltz gives the fist emoji, American flag emoji, flame emoji. So I guess that's supposed to be it's hot. Marco Rubio, good job, Pete, and your team. Mike Waltz, the team in Mall did a great job as well. Stephen Miller, street work, all, I guess, supposed to be great work, powerful start. So you've got this level of communication. What is amazing to me is how do you have, and you should know, because you just alluded to the work that you did under the Obama administration, when you're pulling together plans to, level bombs in another country, is the go-to, let's get on a group chat and talk it out, or is it to go into a skiff or some other secure location? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. You go to a skiff, you go to the White House Situation Room, you go to the skiff that has been constructed in your home to protect these communications. That's where you conduct it. Even if you're on the road or you're in an airplane, heck, we had Secretary Kerry on his yacht out in the waters off of Martha's Vineyard coming in over secure communications to a National Security Council meeting with President Obama. So it boggles my mind that these individuals would do this, particularly since these individuals included John Ratcliffe, who previously served as the Director of National Intelligence and had served on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who served on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Marco Rubio, who led the Senate Intelligence Committee, all of whom surely have received counterintelligence briefings about the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, et cetera, actively seeking and targeting non-secure devices that would include platforms like Signal. So, and Michael Waltz, who also served on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and on the China Task Force while in Congress. And Michael Waltz had served in the Bush-Cheney administration, which was probably one of the most well-organized, well-run National Security Council staffs that ever existed. So he had seen how these things should be done. So it's inexcusable. It's either laziness or incompetence.
Well, yeah, or because given the background and experiences of some of the folks who are on this group chat, and the fact that, you know, they have ties to prior administrations in which that level of security was always paramount in conducting foreign policy or national security activities. What does it say about this team that they're so laissez-faire about it all, that they're so disconnected to the seriousness with which these moments require their attention?
Well, when my experience with presidential administrations, Reagan, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Bush again, they're led by example. And we have an administration being led by a president who has clearly demonstrated a very laissez-faire attitude towards the handling of classified information, you know, to the point where he was indicted on several charges for the mishandling of the information. So he sets a tone, and that tone has been allowed. You know, another thing to remember is that this is an administration where Michael Waltz, as he was getting ready to come in as National Security Advisor, they said that they were going to fire all of the detailed professionals coming to the National Security Council staff, the kinds of people with the expertise that would prevent this thing from happening. He was going to fire them unless they perhaps answered some questions about their fealty to the president, fealty to the policies of the president. So I don't think we've ever seen the conclusion of that story as to how many of those individuals actually did depart and how many were replaced by individuals without the appropriate expertise. But this could possibly be an example of bad staffing done by inexperienced, ill-trained individuals who were brought on the staff more for their loyalty than for their expertise.